Okay. So now I'm on a Kentucky mountain horse, and so now I'm also going to talk to you about feel and how to keep him in gait. Kentucky mountain horses can be different. It depends, how they're shaped and which gaits they have. So this guy is kind of like a little Rocky Mountain. You didn't know. You'd think he's more that. So maybe he is because he doesn't have papers. So anyhow, this guy will trot and pace, and he will do a flat walk, and he does a racking gait. And occasionally he will foxtrot. He will mostly do that on trail. I don't know if he'll do that for you today. It has very nice camera. Okay. So let's talk about what he feels like. So this is just his regular trail walk or the slow walk, the same thing you saw with Vetter when I started. And he does have that back and forth motion. But going downhill, I can feel a little bit of side to side because he gets a little bit more pacey if I don't slow him down. I don't have him in a bit. I've tried him in a bunch of different bits. And he did okay, but he was always opening his mouth up, so I put him in the bitless bridle. So he does okay in this. He's pretty good. Sometimes he doesn't respond as quickly. And I might try him in a hack more too to see how he does. But so with helping his gaits and stuff, sometimes I got to pull harder on this than I would pull if I had him in a bit. He'd be a little bit more sensitive. Okay. So again, what you're trying to do with feel is feel how they walk. He's like, how about feel how I poop? So you want to feel how they walk first. That's where I tell people always start from the beginning. So don't start fast, start slow. And just feel how that horse is walking underneath you. Feel that you're moving back and forth in the saddle. You should be moving back and forth unless they're pacing, and then you got to slow down and go even slower, or maybe stay over poles. So you'll be moving back and forth in the saddle. There might be a little side to side, but it shouldn't be a lot. So I'm going to slow him down a little bit more. So I'm half halting. I just half halted 3 times, and he's still kind of walking out. So I'm going to make him go a little bit slower. So you'll see his head goes up and down a little bit. A lot of gaited horses, people get confused because their head goes up and down and it goes sideways. You got to control the sideways motion. That doesn't mean they're doing a pace. Some of them just have a lot of motion in their head. So you just hold their head straight, and it should go up and down if they're flat walking. And if you hold their head straight and it's still going side to side, that's more likely that you're pacing. Okay, so you're feeling his feet moving up underneath you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is just a slow walk. And again, I'm moving back and forth in the saddle. I know I keep saying that. There's lots of little gopher holes here, so you might see some of them tripping and stuff on them. So now as we're going downhill, I can feel his back end getting a little bit more sideways because he gets a little bit more pacey. So I just half halt. And today he's kind of walking out, so I don't have to put much leg on him. But I'm sitting up nice and tall. I kind of have my energy up, okay? So once you feel that slow walk, and you can close your eyes and feel it, you'll feel a lot more if you don't, see where you're going. But again, do that somewhere safe, an arena or somewhere, nothing's going to pop out. And just feel what your horse feels like, or have somebody hand walk your horse and you close your eyes and just feel. So now I'm going to start asking him for a flat walk. He's getting a little distracted, so I'm shortening my reins up. My hands are up in front of the saddle horn, probably about 4 or 5 inches. And now I'm going to add one leg and then the other, one leg and then the other. So right now it's a slight incline, so that should help him. But this horse can get a little bit more pacey than Vetter does, especially kind of riding out in this pasture. And he's a little bit more looky. So I'm pushing with one leg and then the other, one leg and then the other, but I'm also trying to keep his attention. Now I'm sitting back because we're going downhill. Otherwise he's going to get pacey because, he's not warmed up a lot yet. So I'm staying very slow. Now I don't worry about his head as much. Again, with some horses it helps you. With this guy, he actually goes pretty good with his head up, so I don't care if he carries it neutral. I just don't want it way down on the ground, and I don't want it sky high. Okay. So right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. We're going downhill, so I can't go too fast for the flat walk. So So I'll add a little serpentine in, because that also helps to separate their legs. So you can make serpentine going downhill. You can leg yield if your horse is getting pacey. You can move their shoulders over or their hindquarters over. Now I also have spurs and a stick on, because this horse I also have to push some. The real forward ones I might not have all that stuff with. But I can adjust their gait much more when I have stick and spurs, because I can use a very, very light touch and I can just see what I feel. So his back doesn't feel stiff, but he kind of wobbles. Better the other horse, when he paced, he'd get a little bit stiff in his back. So this guy's back feels pretty relaxed. I'm not half halting, but I am holding the reins. I have a fair amount of contact, because a lot of these horses, especially a lot of Rockies, people like to let them walk really slow with their heads way down, and then they get in the habit of that. So he wants to put his head way down. I don't want to do that, because I'm working on his gait. So I can get their gait much better when you're riding with some contact on them. And it depends on the horse. You know, if the horse is bred really well, you might be able to gait it on a loose rein, but most of them you can't. Okay, right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. So I'm pushing with my right leg, then my left leg. Okay. So I'm just asking him to walk out. Now he has a shorter stride. He does not have any overreach, but he's not a Tennessee walking horse, so he's not supposed to. So he's not going to have as much head shake when he flat walks, and I'm not going to move back and forth in the saddle as much. But these Rockies, you do got to hold them straight. Some people have let them get really crooked, and some people let them throw their heads all over the place. You know, they got the long reins and they're gaiting and their heads all over the place. It drives me crazy. So you want to keep them, their body and their head very straight, right in between your hands and your legs. You hold that horse straight. Okay? And this guy likes to try to look around a lot, because he didn't have a lot of confidence when he came. So you keep trying to straighten their head out. They can't gait well if their head's going cockeyed. Well, unless you're using that to get their gait. Some people do. But with him, I'm just keeping his head straight. So I haven't really half halted here. Now I'm going uphill, so I can push him just a little bit faster. So you might see his head moving just a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So some of these Rockies will be able to do flat walk, and some of them, even when they're going slow, they do their racking gait. So it might feel a little bit different. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, where their legs are a little bit closer. But I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, because his legs are pretty separated. Okay. But with him, I'm kind of pushing, but we've been going uphill. But going up this hill, he hasn't really gotten pacey, and that other horse got pacey in a couple of different areas. This one's going to get more pacey going downhill, because he likes to get his weight on his front end and not use himself. And again, a lot of times that's because people have not made them work and do anything for it. Okay. So immediately as I went downhill, I could feel his legs underneath me get closer together. You might be like, what the hell are you talking about, lady? It's a feel, and it's a developed feel. So yeah, it took me many years to get it as well. Okay, but as soon as you feel it, I sat back, and I'm trying to get his weight on his back end. And then once I get his weight on his back end, and I feel the front lighten up some, so he's not pulling on me, and I might keep his head a little higher to make sure it's not going down and the weight is not on the front end. Then I add the speed. So right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. So this is about as fast as I can go with him at this point in his training without him starting to pace, and he couldn't go this fast before downhill. Now everything changes when you're out on trail. So but remember, you're trying to pick a place that you can practice. That's a long road or an arena, and something where the footing is consistent, and something where you have a long area to go. That's why people like roads. And on roads, you can hear their feet, which is helpful. So right here, it dips down, so I'm going to give a big half halt. I have to give a big one because I just have this bitless bridle on. So know that if you're in that bitless bridle and your horse isn't sensitive, they can lean on it because it's, you know, just pushing on their nose. So they're going to be a little less sensitive, but that's okay as long as you don't mind. Okay, so as I'm walking with him, I'm going to push him off my right leg because I'm just trying to work on separating his legs. And the more I get his legs separated at this flat walk, then when I speed up, he should be better, because so he should be warmed up. And I'm trying to create muscle memory. Now right up here in the shade under this tree, it dips down. So I'm going to give a big half halt right now and sit back. Just a little leg so he knows to keep going. Now I'm going to give another big half halt. So this horse is not built uphill like a lot of the walk-in horses are. You know, he doesn't have a high head carriage, but that's more like for a Rocky or Kentucky Mountain. A little bit lower head carriage. They're more similar to the quarter horse, but that means they can also get heavy on this front end. Okay, so you know, once in a while I'll ride him on trail like this, but look what happens. Where does his head go? I don't know if you can see it. It's on the ground, right? You never saw me do that with that other horse. So again, people want to ride like this. Maybe their horse is safe like that, but this one's not. This one, he's got to pay attention, because otherwise he gets pacey, and pacey horses drag their feet, and horses that drag their feet can trip. So I got to pay him attention and make him engage himself. But I know he can't pick his head up real high. He's just not built like that other horse. So this is about the height I'm going to keep his. So his head's still level with my saddle horn, but I'm not trying to keep his head down like I was with the other horse. I'm almost trying to keep it up a little bit. And when I go faster, I might bring it up a little more. So I feel him pushing me back and forth in the saddle, and I'm pushing back and forth in the saddle a little with my seat just to keep him going. I have not half halted, but I have my fingers around the reins like this. So they're around the reins. My fingers are not open. They're holding. Since I'm working on his gait right now, I am holding it just a little bit tighter, like I'm holding a pen or a pencil in my hand. So now as he's done this once, he's not looking around as much, which is good. So the more focused they are and the less nervous, the better they're going to gait. The more they're not focused and the more nervous they are, usually the worse they gait. Not all, but it's just a general. Okay, so as I made that turn, he's not paying attention. And I really had to kind of pull hard on this bitless bridle to get his attention back. So now we're going downhill again, so I'm going to sit back and feel what he's doing with his feet. I want his legs separated, so his legs are trying to get closer together, so I can feel a more side-to-side motion, and I can feel his legs going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to slow it down, bring his head up a little bit. I'm going to push him sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's better. Now he's trying to lean on this bitless bridle a little bit. Some of them do, so don't let him lean on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So now I'm just keeping this. I just pushing my seat back and forth a little bit, and then one leg and then the other. And then again, I'm not half halting right now with him, except I am going to do one right now. So half halt, because I felt like he was getting a little pacey. Now he's a little lighter. And this guy will kind of be lazy, drag his feet, but if I engage him and get him working at his next gait, he'll actually pick his feet up pretty well. So again, a lot of them will just drag, they'll just walk really slow if you let them all day long, but if you get after them and work them, they'll pick their feet up and wake up. So that's what's good and bad about them, because if they're half asleep and their head's low, they're going to get trippier because they're just not paying attention. Okay, so again, concentrate on the feel. I'm moving back and forth in the saddle. His head's going up and down. We're getting to the spot where they get a little pacey, and his head is pulling on my bridle a little bit. So I'm going to give a half halt and a little squeeze with my legs at the same time. So right now he's pretty light. This is good for him. But again, his flat walk's not going to be really fast. And I'm using that flat walk to get his gait better. So everybody's different on what gaits they like. Some people want to do that rack pretty slow. I'm going to go to the bathroom again. I like to have a good flat walk because you can match it with most other gaited horses and regular horses. And then I like to have their intermediate gait. And this guy again, is not going to have a running walk because he has no overreach. So you have to have overreach to have a running walk. People get confused. What's the difference between a running walk and a rack? The overreach with the running walk. Okay? Horses that rack are not overreaching when they're doing it. So this horse is not going to have a running walk because he does not have any overreach. Okay, so we're keeping him straight. Now we're going uphill, so it's easier to keep him on his back. And now he just lifted his head up, which I like because he actually got lighter, and now he's watching something, but he's not leaning on the bridle as much. And now I'm pushing with one leg and then the other. And again, everybody gets confused about spurs, but with spurs you can just give them a little touch and they'll react to it if they're ignoring your calf. So I always use my calf first, and then I might touch them just a little bit with the spur. If you have a spur on, you can never kick, and you shouldn't kick gaited horses anyhow because it'll skip over their gaits. So it's much better to have tools like spurs and a stick just to tap and give them these special cues. And that's why you see lots of dressage people ride with those things, because they're doing all those maneuvers and they need little tweaking here and there, and they need the horse to get the message without them doing too much. So they touch them very lightly with things. Okay. So remember, we're trying to keep the same rhythm, so that same football, and then the same tempo, which is speed. I talked to this before. You can look back at my videos. So we're trying to keep that same speed. So going downhill, I'm not going to be able to rack him very well because he's pacey, but we'll try it at the bottom and we'll see what he does. Okay, so I'm trying to prepare him for the gait I'm going to try down there. So I'm serpentining. He's still leaning on the bit he's still leaning on the bridle a little bit. So I'm trying to half halt, relax to get him a little lighter. So when I ask him to go, I'm going to sit up tall, lean back a little bit, try to bring his head up, and then I'm going to use both my legs to tell him to go. And then if he's pacey, I might even tap him with my stick to get him to kind of engage himself more. So we'll try it here. I don't expect it to be good because it's still going a little downhill. So I'm going to bring his head up a little. Now you see I started using a little bit more leg, and here we go. Both legs. Now it's a little bouncy. See? So I'm going to slow him down. And so what do we think? We think, well, nothing's wrong with the horse. It's just it's sloping downhill, and he doesn't gait well there. He doesn't have special shoes on or anything like that, so it's not going to help him. So we're like, we just won't gait there again. So now let's try it here because this is going uphill a little bit. So I'm going to wake him up. Now that's much better. See? Just a difference in the footing. So we're going a little side to side, and you'll see his head is up a little more. That's better. So I slowed him down because he started getting a little fast. Now right here it goes downhill. So I got to sit back, keep his head up. I'm trying to keep him out of the pace. So it's getting a little, but not too bad. Now I'm going to hold him together because I want to fix his footfall so it's not pacey. Now I'm going to hit the gas with both legs. Sitting back. Now you're trying to help him. You can push your weight into one foot then the other, like right, left, pushing your stirrups, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and try to get the horse to follow your rhythm, right, left, because with the rack, it's either going to be smooth or a little kind of back and forth motion. Okay. So now this turn, do we rack around? We could, but then it goes downhill right here, and he's going to get a little pacey. And he had the weekend off, so it's not like he's been gaiting all weekend. And I round pended him a little bit. He was being lazy. I should have round pended him longer because I usually put him over post, but I went a little bit less because we were both being lazy. All right, so now we're going downhill. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to pop his head up, a little bit of my leg. Not bad, a little choppy. Now there's a little pacey, right? So I just half halted, did it pretty hard, and I used my legs at the same time. Now it's better. So again, you won't get a back and forth motion with this. You're going to get a little side to side. Now there he got a little pacey, so I just leg yielded him off my right leg. I'm sitting back. Here he's pretty good. Sometimes he tries to throw little canter steps in. So I'm leaning back. Again, this is harder with the bitless bridle. Good Good job, buddy. Now we're going downhill, but he's still doing okay. Just a little choppier, but not bad. Now when we get the spot, I'm going to give a big half halt. Right now I'm just holding, but I'm holding a little tight. Now I'm going to pull right here and use my leg to get it through that spot. Now if he tries to canter step, I kind of, even though I have the bitless bridle, I half halt with one hand and then the other. So I'd do the same if I had a bit. But see how much higher his head is? Now his head's like, I don't know, 12 inches above my horn. Because if it was down, it wouldn't be so good. So I need his weight back. So I feel my butt going side to side in the saddle. I feel his legs underneath me. You'll see his head has a little side-to-side motion, just a little. Now there he's a little choppy because he got towards the pace, so I just pushed him off my left leg. Now here it goes downhill, half halt, leg. Now I'm going to push him off my right leg. Good, I'm going to lean back a little more. There's a little dip right here. I'm going to hold him and use a little spur and just push him through that. Because if I don't do anything and he's on a loose rein, he's going to get pacey. Oh. Good boy. Now see his head immediately go down. Good job. He's like, holy cow, lady. It's hot out too. All right. So you can do lots of things in the bitless bridles and the hackamore. They usually just don't, you know, to me, they're more sensitive with the bit. So if I need to make little changes, the bit's easier for me. You know, if your horse is a great gaited horse, you might just ride in a halter. But you'll see now that he's tired, his head has gone back to the ground. Okay, and some people like that. They want to ride like this, but I don't want to ride like that unless he's going down something and he needs to look at it. I'll let him put his head down like that, but otherwise I don't. Because when they're like that, all their weight's on their front end. So if they trip or something happens, you don't have much in front of you to help you to catch yourself. And these are not quarter horses. Okay, the quarter horses are going to be quicker with their feet, and they're not going to have to think about, oh, I'm gaited, what should I do with my foot now, where these horses have extra things to do. So if you have a horse like this, try not to let them lean on your bridle. You know, have them get off of it, keep engaging them and getting them to work. Okay, so this is the spot that last time I tried to gait him on and he just didn't do well at all. So am I going to do it again? No, I didn't like it. He was very pacey. It kind of goes up and then down. So I'm just going to flat walk him here because he's pulling on me right now. So I want to get his attention. And we're just going to flat walk him because we can flat walk pretty fast anyhow. But this is better. So I'm half halting, pushing off my left leg because he's leaning a little left. Push him off my left leg. And for a lot of Rocky, he's pretty straight. Again, I don't know, when they come to me, a lot of them are very crooked and they're all going sideways. So, and some people, when they gait these horses, the Rockies, or they're trying to go for that lateral gait, people crank their head to the side to get the gait. Maybe that's what happened to those horses. Try to just get them to gait by just going faster. Okay, so now I can speed them up. So now I'm going to go to both legs. And I clucked because I want him to engage himself. Okay. So now again, you can shift your weight right, left, right, left, right, left. So I'm not using my legs on him. I'm just pushing down in the stirrup to get him to get my rhythm. So here it goes downhill a little bit. So I'm going to hold him. I'm going to lean back. I'm holding them together. Now I'm going to give a big half halt. Now I'm going to tell him to go by just a little leg. And again, you can go right, left in your stirrups. Right, left, left. So you're just shifting, trying to get him to follow your rhythm. Because with the rack, again, you'll either be completely still or you'll go side to side a little bit, which people get confused because you can go, with your pace, you can go up and down, but some horses go side to side when they pace, so you gotta know the difference. So what's the difference? One, it's smooth, very smooth, but you're kind of like wiggling back and forth in the saddle. It's not a big shifting back and forth in the saddle. Okay, so, but you got to get the feel, which is the pace and which is their gait. And again, I can feel with him. I can feel what she's supposed to or which he is doing. All right, so now he's kind of got his weight on his front end. He's like, I'm getting tired. I had the whole weekend off, so I'm going to sit back. I'm picking his head up a little bit by just kind of holding with him. That each horse is different, but with him I got to hold him a little bit. Now I'm pushing with one leg and then the other, and now I'm going to go to both legs right now when I want him to start racking. I'm going to try and do this. My other camera just died. Hopefully that's working. We'll see. Hopefully it won't bounce out. So now we're going uphill again. So we're going to push him over, pick his head up, both legs. I'm going to sit back. There he goes. Kind of feels like you're on a speedboat. You hit the gas and the back end goes down and the front end comes up. Now he's getting a little bouncy, so I leg yielded him, and all I did was touch him a little bit with my spur. Now I'm half halting because he's getting a little bouncy again right here around the turn.